swinging a drive, right field and deep. That goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. Fly the W.
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network, and it is episode 69, season number 4. Crawley, what is the Cubs bullpen plan? Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe. Most importantly, review our podcast, follow on all the socials. You can check out some of the things I'm up to at Mully and Haw on X.
You can follow me at Crawley's Cubs on X, Blue Sky, and TikTok, and Crawley's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. You can email us at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. And you know, Dustin, when we do this podcast, sometimes news just breaks out of nowhere, out of thin air. And that's what happened today.
That's what happened a little bit before we got started. Go ahead. Let everybody know the latest from the Twitterverse or Xverse.
The latest and greatest.
Yep.
Tyler Austin, 1 year, $1.25 million deal. He returns to MLB after 6 seasons in the Nippon Baseball League in Japan. And so he is going to be playing the role of Justin Turner against tough lefties this year for the Cubs.
Now, he is a prolific power hitter, right? He's just not somebody. He's a bopper. He's a bopper.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like an everyday guy. It's just another guy, right? Do you believe it's an upgrade on the field? I don't think you're going to get an upgrade off the field, but is it an upgrade on the field than Justin Turner?
Sure, I think so. I mean, I think Justin Turner really couldn't do much. He had that one walk-off home run that was a big one. But no, yeah, it's definitely an upgrade. But again, we've just kind of been waiting around this offseason, twiddling our thumbs, hoping that something kind of happens, and not much. You know what I mean? These type of moves, to me, they're very good. Don't I'm not trying to sit there and say that it's a bad move, but it's not a move that takes you to the next level. Right.
It's kind of just a holding pattern, right? You're
right.
Just kind of in purgatory, if you will, somewhere in the middle.
You're swapping bodies. You're swapping,
very, very vanilla. And the title of this episode, Crawley, is about the Cubs bullpen. And yesterday there was some movement, and you're kind of scratching your head trying to figure out what it all exactly means.
Yeah, it's been a wild week for the reliever market just in general. Jed and Carter have talked about how they wanted to fortify the bullpen, but in a period of 24 hours, Dustin, the Cubs signed one of their top bullpen arms from last season, but saw another 2 leave for greener pastures, or at least greener dollars. I don't know.
Yeah, all the dollars are green. That's for sure.
When you take a look here, though, one of the guys that is coming back, who had a very, very good season was Caleb Thielbar. So the lefty is back for 2026. It was Jesse Rogers that was the first to report that. He had a 2.64 ERA, 56 strikeouts, only 13 walks over 58 innings. Thielbar's contract, get this, Dustin, 1 year, $4.5 million. I mean, they are literally going to have no team after 2026. So
yeah, it's like they're already speculating that there will be a work stoppage, right? That's what all that says to me anyway, that they believe there will be a work stoppage coming for baseball, and they're lining it up so that they don't have anything on the books at that point. It's very, very interesting. But I mean, I don't dislike them keeping Caleb Thielbar. I thought, for the money they're spending and for what he did last year and what he's supposed to do. I mean, I thought he did a good job doing what he is supposed to do.
Yep, and $4 million is not going to break the bank. And so it's $4 million base salary next season, a $500,000 buyout of a 2027 mutual option, and performance bonuses. Unfortunately, Brad Keller will not be coming back to the Cubs. He signed a 2-year, $22 million with the Phillies, so he's going to go hang out with Kyle Schwarber. Keller was a shock last year, non-roster invitee. He went 4-2 with a 2.07 ERA, 0.96 WHIP, and held opponents to a 182 batting average in 68 appearances. Struck out 75, walked 22 in 69 and 2/3 innings. Dustin, he no way that the Cubs are going to pay him $11 million a year though.
So you're okay with that. So 11 million was obviously what was breaking the bank, if you will.
It's not.
My initial reaction, Crowley, was good for him, right?
Mhm.
Good for good.
Right.
You just mentioned this was a guy that was a non-invitee type guy, right? Like, the fact that
Right.
he broke camp. I mean, but to the point of the title of this particular podcast, what is the Cubs bullpen plan? When the Cubs were in big games at the end of the 2025 baseball season, and they were getting those high leverage outs in the 8th or 9th inning, who was in there? This guy.
Right.
Going to this guy, because the guy that was closing, that got dinged up a little bit, he was being used in this 6th or 7th inning role, right? And I think they love Porter Hodge. So I think they think that Porter Hodge can be moved into maybe the 7th inning kind of guy again, and you just move everybody back a little bit. I mean, they signed another guy that got a little Craig Counsell stink on him. Left-handed pitcher who's got a real awkward delivery. At least it'll be fun to watch how he throws the baseball.
Right.
And we'll get into him in a minute. But it just my first reaction was great for Brad Keller. But my second reaction was, to your point, like let's go for it. Like 11 million, $22 million is breaking the bank. You know what I mean? Or they just think there's no way he can duplicate or even come close to doing what he did in 25 for them in 26.
And I think that's part of it. And I think another part is
Your mic is muted. I can see the logo. It's muted like last time.
how's that?
Now it's on. Yep.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yep. Yes, I can.
So you can hear me, but now I can't hear you for some. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
All right. So I think we are good. I don't know what is going on with this mic here, kind of goofy, but when you were talking about Keller, I think they are going to use him. I think the Phillies are going to use him as a starter. Zach Wheeler coming back from injury.
Wait. You think they're using Brad Keller as a starter?
Temporarily until Wheeler gets back.
All right. So that's different. That's interesting. And maybe that's why you're willing to pay him, because he's starting for you, right?
Correct. Because he's going to be that swing man. And so I think that they were able to pay a little bit more, and hopefully he will be able to work out for them, but I don't think the Cubs were going to go there. Also, Dustin, you were talking about some of those big innings eaten last year, especially in the postseason. How about Drew Pomerantz? And they got him for cash from Seattle. He is leaving. He's signing a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Angels. So, Dustin, that one to me makes no sense unless, again, they don't think he can do what he did last year.
Right. That's what that screams to me. Like, that was just like they found a scratch off lottery ticket that somebody forgot to check the barcode on, and looky here. And that's kind of what he was. So that one I'm not as surprised about, I guess. But again, I'm going to have faith in these guys. These guys they built a pretty good bullpen last year. Tommy Hotovy's a really good pitching coach. So I'm going to have faith in this. But there's a lot of other concerns.
Well, so Pomerantz last year had a 2.17 ERA, 57 strikeouts, 15 walks, 49 and 2/3 inning. That was really good, Dustin. And
Oh, it
for
was good. Yeah.
4 million, that's not 22 million. It's 4 million.
Right.
It's 1
4
year.
million. Yeah.
You
But I
know,
mean,
so
it just screams to me that they don't trust him. I mean, and if they don't trust him, I have to agree with them and not trust him.
but
I
I feel
mean,
like
that's a question. I mean, again, here's like the 95th question for you to try to get answered at the Cubs convention. What are we missing about this signing? Right?
right.
Or,
It's I'm looking
or
at
did
this.
he want to go to California? Did he not want to be in Chicago? Did he not want to train in Arizona? Is that what it was? What was it?
I don't know, but they're gonna have to figure it out because between Keller and Pomerantz, it's 118 innings that they pitch between the two of those guys.
That's
So
amazing.
someone else is going to have to get them. And one of the guys you mentioned with the Brewers stink on him, Hobie Milner.
Yeah.
He is
Hobie.
he is what our good friend Joe Madden used to say. He has a little bit of funk with him, right? He's got that funk, that weird delivery. And so Hobie Milner is coming to Chicago. You assume that Craig Counsell had plenty to do with that. He signed a 1-year, $3.75 million deal to reunite with Craig. He worked 73 games last season for the Rangers, 3.84 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 70 in a third inning. He ranked in the 91st percentile for ground ball rate. So we know how much the Cubs love to rely on their defense.
They love that. Yeah.
And he does a great job getting out lefties, Dustin. But as far as righties, not so much. Last year, he held left-handers to a 208 batting average compared to a 295 against righties. So
yeah, that's a big difference. Very big difference.
Dustin, we talked about Milner, Hobie, great. He's here and that's a perfectly fine move. And we talked about Phil Maton. They got him earlier in the offseason. Okay, that's great. But Dustin, there were 2 relief pitchers, free agents, that had fastballs that average under 90 miles per hour, and the Cubs signed both of them.
Yeah. Something we pointed out, kind of like, interesting.
And
and it seemed like this was a staff, like in general, if you were going to add to it, right? If you were going to add to it, you were looking for swing and miss type guys.
Right. And that's where it gets frustrating because there was so much movement in the free agent market, or in the reliever free agent market this year. The one that hurts, Jeff Passan is just dropping bombs everywhere, but closer Robert Suarez and the Atlanta Braves are agreeing on a 3-year, $45 million contract. So that's the top reliever making 15 a year compared to Brad Keller, 11 million. But that's the one we wanted. That's the one we wanted.
Right. I agree with you. But it doesn't seem like the Braves are that close to add a guy like that, right?
They've had some injury issues. I wouldn't discount them.
No.
I'm just telling you, 98 mile per hour fastball, that would have worked. And then you could have had, all sorts of different combinations. And when you talk about Hodge and Palencia and Maton and Hobie Milner and all these guys, there's stuff you could do, but you just don't have, a veteran. Let me repeat, a veteran that can throw gas.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so since the last time we talked, there's a lot of good relievers that have come off the board. I know Kenley Jansen is up there, but he's somebody that's done it. He's going to Detroit. We know Detroit had a hell of a couple seasons and they think he's good enough. The good Rogers, Tyler Rogers, as opposed to Taylor Rogers, who the Cub had, his twin brother, he signed a big deal with the Blue Jays. You want to talk about funk? That guy has funk, and he's a righty. I really would have loved it if the Cubs would have signed him. Former Cub Mark Leiter Jr. with the A's. But when I look, Dustin, there isn't a lot of lockdown relievers that I can sit there and be like, well, this guy's still on the board. You know what I mean? You're Sean Armstrong. I don't know if he does anything for you. Kirby Yates, 39. Dave Robertson, 41. I mean, none of these guys.
I think it's going to have to be a trade, right? I think it's got to be a trade if you're going to get there. I think it's got to be a trade.
I don't know. But apparently they feel comfortable giving Daniel Palencia and his gasoline to the ball in the ninth. So we'll take a look. But I don't know, Dustin, if they're not spending money on the free agent market, which again, Jed typically doesn't like to do, what are they going to spend their money on? And if you've been watching, Francis Romero, Baseball Insider, tweeted this out the other day. 5 MLB teams have shown real interest in 27-year-old Japanese ace Tatsuya Imai, per industry sources. The New York Yankees and Chicago Cubs are expected to be finalists to sign Imai. But do you see am I preferring to go to the Cubs rather than New York? I mean, Amaya said he wants to be on a team with no other Japanese players. I think New York fits that bill pretty well, and he wants to be a postseason player. I think it's much more guaranteed if you go to New York.
I agree with you. Much more guaranteed.
I mean, so I don't, if you're telling me, I don't know. So my guess is if Jed didn't want to go in on Robert Suarez, or he didn't want to go in on some of the other relievers that were bigger money, or even Brad Keller, or Raciel Iglesias, or, name it, Edwin Diaz. Let's go that route. If you didn't want to go with that, do you want to go with Amai? Are you pushing all in with Amai? I don't know. As far as the reliever market, we said that's been red hot, but since that Dylan Cease deal, there really hasn't been much on the starter. Merrill Kelly's going back to the D-backs, 2 years, $40 million deal. But other than that, Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, Nick Martinez, Chris Bassett, and Michael King are still on the board. So, they want to get a starter. And Amaya is apparently their number one pick, with Zach Allen being number 2. But and they've cooled on Michael King. I haven't heard much about him. I mean, I'm sure they'd love to get him, but that one's kind of a little roll of the dice on there with his injury history. And, is he going to be ready on day one? We already know Justin Steele is not going to be ready to start on April, whatever the opening day is March 28th, 29th, around there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you do have a lot of guys that are still available. Now, as far as the position players go, Dustin, the same names are out there, but Jesse Rogers in ESPN had some numbers that he was kind of predicting, some projections for the hitters. Bo Bichette, 5 years, $150 million. Alex Bregman, 5 years, $170. Cody Bellinger, 6 year, $180. Kyle Tucker, 11 years, $418. Can we safely say
who's giving him that? Who? Okay, I mean, great. I want that too, right? Who's giving him that? Who's giving him that kind of do-re-mi?
The Yankees? Toronto?
Okay. Then that means Bellinger's available, right?
You want where would you put him at right then?
Yeah, I'd run him back at right, and
then trade Casey.
I could give a day off and maybe use Casey for a great bullpen piece.
What about Bichette at either second or third, or Bregman at third?
Well, I think 5 years of Bregman's a long time with Bregman right now.
What about 5 years of Bo Bichette?
What's it going to cost again, supposedly?
He'd be the cheapest, 5 years, $150, the least, or tied for the least years, and $150.
But I mean, if you do that for 5 years, that means you're basically giving up on Matt Shaw, and you're turning Matt Shaw into this, best thing off your bench.
Don't think so. I think, as we talked about last time, I think Matt Shaw would move to second, and with Nico in his final year of his contract, that might be one of your most valuable trade pieces now.
God, I would hate that.
Well,
I would absolutely hate that, Crowley. I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, I asked and you answered. I'm just saying I would hate that. He's the only guy on the team that actually hits with runners in scoring position.
Well, Susie Slisser, who covers the Giants, had an article about Nico being the players that they're eyeing at second base. So, I mean, this is a respected beat reporter saying that, literally naming Nico Horner as someone they are looking at.
And that would be him. That would be him going back home too, correct?
Yes, to California. Mm-hmm. And so,
I think specifically, not only California, Crowley, I think specifically the Bay Area.
Yeah, I thought he was around Oakland, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, that's Bay.
Yeah,
area.
Close enough. Battle of the Bay, right? Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, we're not arguing about that.
Right.
Argue about other stuff, not that.
So, I mean, I think that Shaw would then slide into second, and then either Bregman or having Alex Bregman or Bichette at third, or you could do Bichette at second, leave Shaw at third. There's other possibilities. These are all things, though, to kind of keep an eye out. But that's something I've been watching with Nico because, like I said, when you talk about a guy that has real value, real true value, because Dustin, if you want something, you got to give up something, right? You're not going to. Oh,
that's true. That's true.
Right.
No, absolutely.
And so if you're talking about a really, really good trade piece, who better than Nico? And if you truly believe in Matt Shaw, you gave up Cam Sanders, so you wouldn't have to give up Matt Shaw. Well, again, one more year of Nico, that's it. What happens when Nico's contract? Would you be giving him another 3 to 5 year deal?
Well, I would right now. I'd be willing to because I mean, like, okay, let me ask you this: Dansby Swanson goes until when? 28.
Dansby Swan. Yes, I believe so.
So I mean, could you see Nico playing short or not really every day?
I don't see Nico playing short every day, but he's a guy that, he did pretty well at short. I mean, he didn't do bad. I mean, we'll see. But, the one thing that my guy Angelo Muto put on here, that Bichette batted 311, not so bad.
Bichette hurt a lot, missed some time.
He did miss some time, but he's not a guy that constantly, not like the history game.
Okay.
No. So they're all kind of think, Carlson did not move. They're saying not going the pace, but it's one of those moves that you take a look at and you say to yourself, this is going to help the Cubs in the long run. And that is promoting Tyler Zombro to the VP of pitching. And apparently the Washington Nationals really wanted him to be their pitching coach. And Jed Hoyer did not want him going anywhere. And so he is now, remember it was Craig Breslow, right?
Yeah.
And Craig Breslow was in charge of the pitching.
Red Sox, right?
Right. And so the Red Sox now got the Cubs vice president of pitching, Ryan Otero, who was underneath Breslow before. But the understanding was Zombro was going to get the promotion no matter what happened to Otero. So it worked out. Otero goes with Breslow, and Zombro is going to be there. If you know Zombro, he was with the Tampa Bay Rays, and Sahadev Sharma has a great article about this in The Athletic if you want to take a look more about him. But, he's a guy that started he does a lot with research and development, just a really intelligent guy. Came up. He had a facility that later merged with Tread Athletics, which is, again, very well known in baseball circles. He was the guy credited with signing Brad Keller, or making sure Brad Keller came and being what he is. So I think this is going to be a huge, huge move for the Cubs in the long run. And we've had Dan Kantrovitz on the show before. I'd love to hear his opinion of being able to work with Tyler, especially when it comes to the draft and development. I think it's a huge move in the long run. Dustin, one final bit here. How about our guy, Anthony Rizzo?
Yeah, very
Anthony
cool.
Rizzo.
Very cool story here, Crowley. Very cool.
I got a kick out of this. Anthony Rizzo is going to run in the Chicago Marathon. That is what he wants to do. So, Dustin,
the Chicago Marathon raises an unbelievable amount of money for charity, Crowley. They do great work, and I believe that he is going to also raise a big time amount of money for charity. So this is all good, and he's supposedly going to try to get a couple of his former teammates involved in running all or part of the marathon as well, from what I'm hearing.
Grandpa Rossi, maybe a little Dexter Fowler for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know, but I will tell you this, man, is that he is really living the Chicago life, right? Going to the bleachers, doing the cup snake, passing out the free beers, Chicago Marathon. He is coming back to Cubs convention. We're going to talk about that later.
Right.
A little Cubs con talk.
He looks fit as a fiddle. He looks like he's ready to run the marathon today.
What is next for Anthony Rizzo? What is the next Chicago checklist, bucket list? Like, is he going to get one of the hot tub boats?
No, that'd be cool.
Chicago River?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Right?
Maybe he signs with Marquee. Maybe we get him on TV a little bit more. Maybe every once in a while he's filling in for JD or something like that. That'd be cool.
Or just, I know that they rotate a lot of guys in the pre and post game with our guy Cole Wright.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, definitely can do that. I'm just trying to think if you were telling someone, hey, you got to do this in Chicago, if you were doing something cheesy, that's just ultimately Chicago, like going to Garrett's Popcorn and getting the combo, or getting dogs out at the Wiener Circle or something.
Right.
He's got to be doing something next, but I got a feeling, and I think this is great for Cubs fans. We're just
hanging out with the lion at the Art Institute with the wreath around the lion's neck.
Right.
Maybe,
a little like Ferris Bueller type thing.
I'm thinking exactly where I was going with that. Ferris Bueller type activities, right? Ferris Bueller
just the ultimate Chicago bucket list. But I got to tell you, like you said, Anthony Rizzo has done so much to raise money for charity and for pediatric cancer, Lurie's Hospital, all this stuff. He's just a phenomenal guy. I try to do what I can to give to a lot of different charities, to help a lot of different charities. Everyone knows Lost Boys being my favorite, but boy, running a marathon, that Dustin, that takes a commitment. Now he's an athlete. I'm not saying it, but he was a first baseman. He wasn't known for his speed.
No, but he looks like he has in the Zoom that he did to talk about this. He looks like he's been training aggressively already.
All right, I'm curious. I have a friend of mine. She's a huge Cub fan, huge Rizzo fan, and she was a state runner in the state of Illinois, and she still does marathons all the time. So she's super excited. I think she's purposely going to slow down just to kind of look at Rizzo for a little while or run behind him, if you know what I mean. So hopefully it'll be a lot of fun and great to have Anthony Rizzo back.
You're listening to the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. It's episode 69 of season number 4. What is the Cubs bullpen plan exactly? Well, we talked about that. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to our podcast. You can leave a 5-star review. You can email us, crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. Don't forget you can watch on Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. Some of you might be doing that right now. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and right now Crawley is going to talk to Danny Rocket about the 8th annual Cubs Caroling Bar Crawl that will take place this Saturday starting at 4, begins at Output. They got some good wings there, I believe, on Clark Street next to the Metro. Danny's going to give us a sneak preview of some of the new carols he has written up to please the patrons at Wrigleyville's finest establishments. This is season 4, episode 69 of the Fly the W podcast. We are part of the Blue Wire Network, and the name of this one is What is the Cubs Bullpen Plan? Don't forget to listen, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, email us, watch us. That's right, Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube page. Time to take a look at some of the news coming in from around baseball that's not exactly connected to our favorite team, but the whole league itself.
Yeah, Dustin, we do have some old friends in the news. Congrats on former Cub Christopher Morel, my guy. Just such a great dude. But he was with the Rays last season. He got picked up for a couple million by the Marlins. So I'm excited. Angelo was on earlier, but anyone that's ever kind of been like, who has ever greeted the Cubs fans and seen the Cubs players and seen them coming in from the parking lot. Morel was just one of the great guys. Absolutely love that guy. So I am glad that he is getting another bite at the apple. How about this, Dustin? Wilson Contreras, his name, he originally was saying, I just want to stay in St. Louis. I don't want to leave. Now he's kind of saying, well, maybe. Now there's rumors that the Red Sox have expressed interest in Wilson Contreras.
Well, he'd be doing like a tour of all the, greatest franchises in baseball, right?
Right. And it, I just, when he signed with the Cardinals, I said, oh, Wilson, this is just, I just felt it wasn't going to work out well. We talked about it when it happened. He's not the, first off, to have to follow up Yadier Molina. That's a tough ask for anybody. But second of all, the one thing that Molina did a lot, but the thing that he was most known for was his ability to frame, to work well with pitchers. And that was never Wilson's strong point. Wilson was a much better hitter than Yadier Molina, but I just felt personally that it was just not the greatest of moves. And I remember how bad it worked, how bad it ended up being for, what's his name, for Dexter Fowler when he went to St. Louis. I was just like, I'm not really digging this idea. So,
yeah, that did not work out well. Yeah, that did not work out well.
No. And we're sitting here and we're just kind of, hoping that he does the best. Chris Martin, you remember Chris Martin? He was with the Cubs for a little spell. He is going to be moving on. So I'm watching this right here as far as the free agents and some of the latest moves. And it's you're still waiting for other things to kind of happen, but Adrian Hauser goes to the Giants, left-handed pitcher Caleb Ferguson to the Reds. We talked about Kenley Jensen. Cedric Mullins is heading over to the Rays. So Jorge Polanco, 2-year deal with the Mets. I heard that's first base. Here's a guy, Dustin, whose name always seems to pop up everywhere. How about Josh Bell?
Yeah, always popping up. Yeah.
Signed with the Twins, a 1-year deal. The Twins are really kind of going into the bargain mode, right? And then Kyle Finnegan re-signed with the Nationals. So there's definitely, again, plenty of players as far as starting pitching, plenty as far as position players. There's some just bullpen that we talked about is something that doesn't seem to really that market is already kind of is kind of already empty or bare. So I'm hoping, like I said, the Cubs, Angelo was asking earlier if I think that the Cubs are going to do, a big move before CubsCon. And I get that question a lot. Like, are they waiting for CubsCon to make an announcement? No, I don't think that Jed and Carter care at all about CubsCon. They're not, especially with the 10-year reunion. That's going to draw a lot of fans just in general. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but they don't ever do moves specifically for CubsCon. When they have a deal ready, they're going to announce it immediately. That's the way it works. Yeah. You don't just kind of hold it until that happens. Now, I think that they're going to be working and trying to get some of these guys. I think it is. But in general, it's not something that is kind of held up.
All right, ready to talk a little CubsCon, Crawley?
Not yet, because there is some World Baseball Classic. Dustin, you and I have been kind of talking about this and how interesting that this Team USA works. Well, how about the latest pitcher? We know that Paul Skeens, right? We know Paul Skeens is going to be the number 1 starter. Number 2 starter, how about Tariq Skubal?
Pretty cool.
I mean, that's got to get you a little bit excited, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're taking a look here, this team, when I look at this team right now, you got Schwarber DH, Corbin Carroll PCA, Aaron Judge. Your infielder, you got Gunnar Henderson, Bryce Terang, Bobby Witt. Catchers, Cal Raleigh, Will Smith. But you have Tariq Skubal, Paul Skeens, Logan Webb's a really underrated pitcher. He's there. Joe Ryan, who people are trying to tie to the Cubs. Mason Miller's going to be on there. David Bednar. It's an interesting team. And so it's going to be fun to watch. But Dustin, it's really going to be fun to watch. And I don't know if you have seen this all. Have you looked at the Dominican Republic, what their lineup looks like?
Oh, it's got to be just stacked.
It always is. It is always stacked. But there's something about it this year. I mean, and I don't ever want to knock down Team Japan, but the outfield is Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, and Fernando Tatis Jr. Then when you go around the base there, you got Vladdy Guerrero at first, Ketel Marte at second, Geraldo Perdomo at short, Jose Ramirez at third, and Manny Machado at third, Junior Caminero DH, Yonder Diaz catching. I mean,
wow.
That's
stacked. That's that is absolutely stacked.
You got to understand especially the Latino and Asian players, this World Baseball Classic to them is huge. And some of them will say it's bigger to them sometimes than even like the World Series and stuff. It means that much to them. And so it's not one of those things where you're like, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. If you're asked, the expectation is that you're on the team. There's no question. But they got some interesting guys, and the pitching staff is not as dominant as say their as far as their batting lineup around the field. A couple names pitching. They do have Sandy Alcantara, who again has been tied for the Cubs for trade talks for a while. Luis Ortiz, Brian Abreu. So they got some guys, but how about Johnny Cueto?
Yep.
Johnny Cueto on the team, and Hector Neris.
Hector. Good to see him back in the too. Yeah.
Hector Neris. So, I mean, this will be fun, but I'm just the lineup that I'm looking at. I'm just like, wow, that'll be something. I'm definitely excited to watch the World Baseball Classic again, as long as it's not Cubs pitchers. That's the only thing I care about. That's the thing that just kind of
probably doesn't want Cubs pitchers in there.
No, I'm really good without it. I just would rather, like I said, do it differently. But Dustin, it is Cubs.
All right, now we're ready for some Cubs caroling, Cubs convention news. Okay.
Yeah, Cubs caroling to me is kind of like the start of the beginning of the end of the off season. Because when Cubs caroling, we all get down Wrigley, we have a good time. Then in January, you have CubsCon. Then in February, pitchers and catchers report. And then you have your spring training games in March. And then you get into opening day in April, right? Just generalizations. So, the Cubs are trying to hype up their Cubs convention ticket sales, no doubt about it. And this comes out here, a little email that says, okay, these are some of the things that we have. And none of it is new. And none of it is unpredictable. You got the sit down with Craig Counsell, which if you've ever sat and listened to Craig for 45 minutes, it's not exactly earth shattering. The kids only press conference is cute, but a little too sugary for me, a little too saccharine, a little too sweet. The compound live with Ian Happ is okay. I guess I have my own reasons, but the 2016 World Series team reunion was the one, obviously, that everybody had circled, right? Who is going to be,
right?
who's going to show. Now I had some, obviously Rizzo was going to come back. No doubt about that. Who was Kyle Hendricks? Who's retiring? Who is he going to come back? Who is going to come back today? Dustin, the 2016 Cubs names were announced. By all accounts, this is not the final list, but when you take a look, Dustin, at who they are bringing back, who is back from the band, this is an absolute banger right here. We talked about Rizzo. Rizzo's back. Yay, hooray. That's going to be a lot of fun. No doubt that Rizzo was going to be back. A guy that was not there last year that is coming back, though. How about Hugo Wego? Dexter Fowler is coming back. Fowler's not consistent.
I see John Lackey on this list.
Well, that's the thing. You got Almora, which I didn't think he was going to come back. He hasn't done a lot of signings. He's still been playing in Mexican League Baseball. You caught on a couple minor league teams last year, the Marlins and the D-backs. Chris Coughlin is a guy that doesn't sign a lot. He made some money somehow, not related to baseball, and he's doing pretty well for himself. Carl Edwards Jr., this is his first one back since he left the team. Justin Grimm coming. Jason Hamill. Yeah. Jason Hayward. I did not think that was happening because he's not retired. And so my understanding is he's going to try to make a team this year. So I didn't think he'd be coming to CubsCon because, sometimes teams are like, kind of look down on that, right? But he is coming. Shocking. And then Kyle Hendricks, first CubsCon back since he left. What kind of ovation is he going to get? Miggy Montero was not there last year, my guy, because he has a job as a special assistant with the D-backs. He will be there. Mike Montgomery, the final out. Hale Caesar, Matt Caesar, Travis Wood, of course, the MVP, Ben Zobrist. He's been to plenty of these. But the names that shocked everybody, John Lester.
There he is.
And John Lackey.
There you go. There's the daily double for you.
Now, just so you know, Lester and Lackey were not big in going to CubsCon even when they were on the damn team, much less they haven't been back really since they were off the team. And a lot of times they would fly in for a day for the opening ceremonies and then be gone. I don't know if that's going to be the case this time. I spent way too much money to get John Lackey autographs. He has not done any signings. He's not a big signer just in general. I don't know if he's going to be signing at CubsCon, but I can just tell you, Dustin, the buzz by the fact that he is going to be there from a collector standpoint it is huge. Along with, again, Lester he was at the Chicago Sports Spectacular a couple years ago, but he's one of those guys that pops up like once every 4 or 5 years. He's not a guy that's going to be kind of like Zobrist. You can get Zobrist signings. Like he'll be at a lot of different events. But Pedro Strop, he's always at CubsCon, stuff like that. But to have Lackey and Lester now,
what will these? Now we talked about some of these events, Crowley. You mentioned, and I love that you have the info, right? You mentioned events that are coming up. What do you think they'll do? Like, will they do a panel with the 20 that team? How will it just be opening ceremonies? Will they be around Saturday as well? How do you think that's going to go?
The ones I don't know about is Lester and Lackey. Those are the wild cards. The rest of the guys will be there all weekend. I'm sure they'll have a panel. I'm sure most of them will be doing autograph signings, especially for season ticket holders. If you're a season ticket holder, you get a special band and you get special exclusive autographs. Now, the one thing the Cubs do is they have a meet and greet, and that's through Cubs charity. That's $300 for one player. Gets you 2 autographs and a photo with that player. I don't know if Lester or Lackey are doing that.
No,
but
they might not be part of that. I got you.
No. Yeah. The autographs are kind of not guaranteed. There are some guys that just don't like doing it. They may not do it, or they may try to do it as little as possible for as few people as possible. So this, though, right now for me has got I was kind of kind of in the doldrums. It's dark out. It's been freaking cold. And the Cubs haven't done much. I'm like, whatever. But this right now just kind of put a spring in my step, a pep in my step, if you will, Dustin, because to see those guys, those heroes, I think there will be a panel. I know there will be a panel. If it was me, I would do, I don't know. Would you rather see all the guys up there, or would you rather divide the 2016 hitters and the
No, I want
2016
them. I want them
pitchers?
all together. I want them all together.
Okay, you want them all together.
I want them all together. I think that's more fun. Make it and make it like an hour, good 45 minutes maybe.
The sessions last about 45 to 55 minutes per session. It's just when you have all those guys on stage, it's hard. Like I wonder if they could do a pitching, a hitting, and then like one big end group one, something like, I don't know, but this is such a huge deal. The 10-year reunion, we've been waiting for this, but there is a name missing, Dustin. Who's missing?
Well, the former skipper and the former catcher, David Ross.
Well, they're not coming, but the one name that everyone was kind of like, wait a sec, what? Jake Arrieta was not on the list. You know, Jake Arrieta came to the wild card games. He was at all three.
Right. Yeah, and Jake Arrieta is another name, Crowley, that I heard that could be running with Rizzo.
I would not doubt that. He is in great shape. He is actually running marathons and all sorts of crazy stuff. But man, if we can get Jake Arrieta to come to this, woo. And of course, there's no Addison Russell. So if you're waiting for Addison, I don't think he's going to get a phone call from the Cubs. But I do think
I would hope not. I would hope not. I'm not going to blame the Cubs for that. Are you?
No, I'm not. I'm just so separating.
It would be news. It would be news if he was coming, Crowley.
Separating your fandom from it. I'm just talking about from a collector standpoint, right? Obviously, you have the team signed pieces, which are always huge. To try to get all the guys on one piece. And then the other one is the piece that he's on is that final out when they catch it and everyone's jumping in each other's arms. It's Baez, Russell jumping into each other's arms, and Rizzo and Brian. And those are huge collectibles to get that signed. I have one of those pictures signed by Pat Hughes with the final out call. Yeah. So getting that done is always a huge one. So we'll see what happens with CubsCon. But we will definitely have plenty of CubsCon news to kind of keep you, get you prepared for this.
Remind everybody quickly, Crowley, when is that?
It's always the weekend of Martin Luther King. So it's January, I want to say 17, 18, 19. And so that would be, 16, 17, 18. So it is that Martin Luther King weekend, and it'll be a lot of fun at the Sheridan. And this will be my 26th in a row, I think. 20, no, because there was COVID. So I think like
COVID,
20, 24.
Well, that's okay. It still counts in a row because nobody got to do it. So it doesn't really break your streak.
But I do want to also say beyond the CubsCon, if you are coming to Cubs Caroling, an absolute fun time. We have some hilarious songs that hopefully you enjoyed. And we moved it because the Bears flexed into our time. So we bumped it a few hours earlier.
Going a little earlier.
Yep. We're starting at 4:00. We're having drinks, food, some wings, everyone hanging out. We're going to practice the songs. And around 4:45, we're going to roll out and we're going to end at Nisei Lounge at 7 p.m. You don't have to know anybody. You don't have to be a good singer. You just got to come and just love the Cubs and want to laugh and have a couple drinks and maybe a shot or two of Malort.
Okay, got it. All right, Crowley, that's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. You can email us your thoughts or your questions, Crowley's Clubhouse, gmail.com, and you can watch us by subscribing to Crowley's Clubhouse on that YouTube channel. This may be our last edition in 2025, so thanks to everybody who's been with us for another great season. If there's news, obviously we will break into the holiday cheer and we'll crank another one out. And if you're watching, you got to love, Crowley's so festive, right? Did you wear that to school as well, Crowley? I did. Acceptable this time of year?
The last week, anything's pretty much acceptable, but I can just tell you I have 5 different Cubs sweaters, so I've been wearing a different one each week. This is the one I'm wearing on Saturday. It lights up.
Ah, okay. You're wearing it on Saturday as well. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's got the lights. It's got everything. Wear your ugly Cubs sweater. Wear your Cubs hat. Come to Nisei. Come to Output. Have some fun. Go Cubs!